first energy is the dynamo energy. It's the energy that is associated with new, with spring, with starting new things, with having a drive to get things going. The second energy is the blaze energy. Around people, it's outgoing, gregarious, connecting, open to new things, but new things in a sense of variety of different things. The third energy is the tempo energy. It's associated with earth. It's a very grounded, connected energy. And it's an energy which connects not just to the surrounding, but to the people, a relationship in a way, in a sense of having them and maintaining them. And the fourth energy is the energy which we call steel. It's a metal, very clear, black and white type of energy that is orderly, systematic, detail-oriented, energy that allows things to be finished. And finished typically in a way that is accurate and precise. So those are the four energies. There is the fifth energy which Michel was referring to, which sits in the middle and integrates, and it's the energy, the fifth element. It's the energy of spirit. It's the energy that connects to everything, to the whole. The energy that is associated with peace and with purpose. And this is an energy that you will not see on your profile, but you may be able to experience it when you are in a certain state of mind, when you're in a certain inquiry, or in a certain place. It's an energy that unifies everything together. Now, here's the thing, because each of you will prefer or resonate with some other energy, different things will bring you to flow. I know this may sound obvious, but it will be different things, different activities, different ways of being that will bring you to flow, and different, obviously, activities in a business or in a team. Now, these four energies are associated also with ways of thinking and doing. And I'll just bring it here, it's easier. So, if you draw them together on a square, then you will notice that the dynamo energy is associated with intuitive thinking, big picture, big ideas, possibilities. Head in the clouds. Intuitive thinking. The opposite, the tempo energy, is associated with sensory thinking, which is ear to the ground, feet on the ground. Very, very much practical, realistic way of thinking. Seeing the details, seeing the connections. If you prefer to have your head in a cloud and you have a lot of dynamo, you will see the world in a very different way. You will notice very different things than someone who is realistic and who will see the connections in the detail. So these are opposites. In the same fashion, you have so this is thinking dynamics. I'll try to make my best to write legibly. So this is thinking dynamics. And let's use a different color. So this would be the action or decision-making dynamics. And this dynamics actually shows how we choose to act and how we choose ways to act. So this is action dynamics. And you can be either introverted, which is on this side, which means you are going to look at things from a systematic point of view, from a point of view of how can I cause this action myself through a system or through a logical sequence, right? It makes sense, right? Now on the other side here we have extrovert. Extroverted. And extrovert is just the opposite, right? It's about people. It's about how can I cause results through others. It's a very different, quite the opposite way of taking action. If we put these four things together, we will get a canvas of four different profiles. Right? So it all started with the flow. We want to be in flow. Then there are certain natural ways how we think and where we resonate. And in order to be in flow, we need to get those things to align together. Right? We need to get the pop station on rather than the classic FM, so that we can actually access to the flow. Through the different ways of thinking, we are able to actually come to distinguish the profiles. The profiles are combinations of where our most predominant energies lie, where our most predominant ways of thinking and the most predominant ways of acting lie. Because those are that's the music that we want to dance to. Remember your profile? If you open your profile, I think it's page 5. Is it page 5? It's page 5 in your profile. You will see the spider graph, what we call a spider graph, which represents the energies. Now, what does it say? It says, I have this much dynamo, I have this much blaze, I have this much tempo, and I have this much steel. Right? You notice the percentages there? They tell you this is the music that you like to dance. Right? But it tells you also that this is the indication of where you will resonate most to create flow. Now, and those are on the square indicated. So let's take someone specific. Who would like to be a volunteer so that we draw your? Oh, Andrea, come here. So what are your percentages here?
Dynamo 48.
48.
Yes. Blaze 20.
Blaze 20.
Tempo 12.
Tempo 12.
Yes. And steel 20.
Steel 20. Okay. So you have 48. It's probably more here. Then you have 20 on this side. 20 on this side. 12 on this side. So your profile will look something like this. Right? Similarly. Yeah. Okay. So in this profile, the most dominant energy is very clearly half of Andrea's energy is in one energy, which is dynamo. Right? Half of all your energy, and the rest is distributed in those three. So clearly, her profile is here in the middle, and we are going to talk about what the profiles are, and that's a creator profile, because this is her music that she likes to dance to. Right? So sometimes, because we're getting into how to read a profile, is sometimes we see energies that are there, where there's not just one dominant energy. Yeah? Who has something like that? Who has like two energies? Who is a star or a mechanic in this room? Helen, you were saying that your energy was how were your energies?
52.
52.
Dynamo.
52.
40 on blaze.
40 on blaze. Yeah, that's 92 in two energies.
0 on tempo.
0 on, and 8 here.
On steel.
Yeah, so this is dynamo, this is blaze, tempo, and steel. Yeah? So your profile will look. Yeah, so we have the little grid here. So your profile will look something like 52 of the charts, big, and then 40 of the charts, big, and then nothing here, and a little bit here. So your profile will look something like this. Right? Yeah. That's great. And you see these are the two predominant energies. One is dynamo and the other is blaze, which gives rise to the profile of a star. Because resonating with those two energies creates a new blend of music that you resonate with. Right? So now take a look at your profile and just take a look at what is it that you what is it that you see in terms of the energies and how the graph looks. Take a look. Yeah, some of you have it very extreme, great. This is if you can see it, this is a mechanic. Very strong dynamo and steel. 40% dynamo, 40% steel. 80% of all the energy is in those two energies, which give rise to the profile of mechanic. Yeah. So, does it mean he's a creator mechanic, a lord? No. Right? Even though these look very strong. It's the combination of those energies which gives rise to the station that he most naturally will dance for. Okay? So take a look at that and just have a brief chat with your partner. It's like, what is it that you are seeing now? What is it that you're seeing in terms of the resonance, the energies, and also what is it that you see in terms of the profile that it all brings together? So if you look at this, each of this has an element associated with it, like wood, fire, earth, metal, and then water, which allows you to not just link it to the origins of it, which is in I Ching, but also to give you a metaphor of what is the quality of that energy. It also has a season of the year associated with it. It starts with Dynamo, spring, then Blaze, summer, Tempo is autumn, and then we have Steel for winter. A Spirit is a transition, so that we learn and move to the next level. So what needs to come before summer? Spring, right? So for Michelle to be able to drive something or grow something, there needs to be seed for it, and that's the dynamo energy.
It's really interesting, even within the community that understands wealth dynamics. Maybe they haven't had a formal debrief, or maybe they haven't been to a training.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the stuff where we're kind of doing this. But the concept of stars are always like this, mechanics are always like this, which I've always not enjoyed that.
Yes.
But you do hear it. Is that because people don't appreciate the combination and the subtlety of how the energies work, because it is like your music.
No two stars are the same.
And this is, it's so important, and because as I reflect on my profile, the dynamo energy is higher than the blaze, but people expect me to be all about people, and I'm about the certain ideas to communicate to people, and that they can misconstrue just these superficial characteristics as what you're all about. And I know we've been talking about that for a few minutes, but it's just when people just say, oh well, stars do this. Yeah, you can do it because you've kind of got to put language to it, but actually no, not every star does that in that way, or whatever the profile is. It's so important.
I recently did a debrief with two supporters who work in the same team, and one had a profile very similar to mine, and the other one had a Swiss Army knife profile, and they were both arguing that they weren't both supporters because they were so completely different. And I was laughing because as I was doing the debrief with them and explaining actually their graphs and their profiles, they realized that they were very different, even though they had the same natural frequency and that they were able to get into flow in very similar ways. But they realized there were such big differences in the way that they operated because of their frequencies.
So for me, I think what's really important here is the motivation, which is a pattern, not a personality. So, that it's not about a personality profile, it's about motivation and desire and a dynamic. Because I don't know if people understand, and again, it's only because I've thought about this for a couple of years now, is people don't necessarily think of the title, whether it's wealth dynamics or talent dynamics, and it has dynamics in the title for a reason.
Yeah.
This is not personality profiling, and I think it's just,
And we deliberately don't call it personality profiling. We don't call it a profiling tool. We call it a business development tool, because that's what it is. It's not like MBTI. It's not like DISC or Insights. You can use it in a similar way in an organization, but it has so much more depth to it than just being a personality profiling
We are
tool.
trying to show you also, and maybe this is not as obvious, so I'd like to state it, is that the profile is actually a result of something, right? And and the profile is a result of it provides something tangible to allow you to get into flow. Now, I'd like to show you this slide, because I created it based on a lot of conversations we had previously in this forum. And this slide basically shows that all of these things are connected. You see, we start with the flow because that's what we are interested in. Right? You'll find it later on in day 3 as a handout, so that it is in your handouts, but just stay with the conversation. So it starts with the intention to create flow, as much of it as possible, and maintain that, right? For you to do that, there needs to be a resonance of energy. If there is no resonance, there will be no flow. How do you get the resonance? You align it with the thinking and action dynamics, which is the four energies or the two ways of thinking and two ways of acting. If you align that with what is natural for you, then you will get resonance and you will get into flow. Now, if you have someone who thinks in a certain way, like who is a visionary and who is oriented to people, like Bea, I know her very well, so I can use her as an example, and she's here in the room, then you will see the world and you will see the things in the world different than someone who's on the other side who thinks detail and analytical. So the thinking style gives you a different view on the world, which will show up as strengths and weaknesses. Now, if you're oriented on the big picture, you're not going to see the details. If you're flying, 10 kilometers above the ground, you will see 200 kilometers in front or around you. You will see the next city in the next country, but you will not see whether there is a suspension bridge or a wooden bridge or whatever. You won't see that. In the same fashion, if you're down there, you will not see what is 200 kilometers away. You will see that the road kind of twists around, and then there is a bridge, and you will see exactly what kind of bridge that is. So the strengths and weaknesses comes out of the place we put ourselves, through our preferences. And it's really, easy to understand, because then, based on those strengths and weaknesses, you can create different things that are valuable, and you can leverage those. And we will explore exactly what value and leverage is. But different strengths will bring different things to the table. And we are oriented specifically at the strengths, not at the weaknesses. We're looking at what is good in this rather than what needs replacing. Right? And then, based on that, then you look at what is the best role in the team, what is the best role in the business, what is the best role so that it builds trust and flow. And you see, it kind of closes down to the flow. And the profile is a really nifty way how to organize these things together so you can remember it, and you have a way how to express it and be in flow. Right?
You must never assume that the graph you have in front of you is the person's profile. Never assume. Even though in our experience it has a 98% accuracy, never assume. And your job when you're doing a debrief is to be curious. And the first thing to be curious about is, does this profile actually suit this person? And you can ask them, when you read it, did you think it sounded like you? And they're going to say yes or no. Like Judith said to me, no, it doesn't sound like me. And that doesn't mean that it's not her profile, it just means that she doesn't think it's her profile. So your job is to be really curious and ask lots of questions. And even in a profile debrief, you may not help somebody decide exactly what profile they are. We have a client who we worked with for 3 months before he decided what profile he was. He started out as a trader, and then he went to being a lord, and then he decided he was an accumulator. You can't decide what someone's profile is, they have to decide. And your job is to coach them through playing the game so that they can decide the best profile fit for them.
Yeah.
So never assume that the data you have in front of you is 100% accurate.
So it's important to really take the profile as the first best guess starting point with anyone, and therefore the debrief is such an important part of the process of helping anyone on an individual basis to get the most value out of it. Because things get confirmed for them, things also get challenged for them. They can start seeing where there is a skill versus where there is a talent and natural energy. And also they may see that there may be a certain need that they have at this moment which is skewed how they answer the test, which sometimes happens. Not very often, because it's set in such a way that it's balanced out. So you may go a little bit on and off here, but the overall result may be actually the same regardless what you do. I know someone who said, I'm a supporter. No, I'm not a supporter. Let me do the test again. Supporter. No. I didn't feel it properly. Let me do it again. Supporter. Oh, bloody hell. It's like they would get the same thing, because the same things come for them as predominant as what they enjoy, what they do most. It just sometimes they're frustrated what to do with it. And I think in the debrief, and this is the value of talent dynamics, what I've seen compared to other profiling things, is not just the verdict, this is what you are, ENFJ or whatever, it's what you do with it and how you test whether you're in your flow. And we're going to look at all of these things, but from this session or from this segment, the only thing I want you to remember is that in order to create flow, you need to resonate. And for resonating, you need to place yourself where your most natural resonance is, where your strongest energy is. And the strongest energy then shows which profile is the most appropriate for you to take on and play.